Alright guys, I'm back with another chapter in Joshua. We're in Joshua chapter 12, where the header reads, Kings defeated east of the Jordan. And we'll get right into it. These are the kings east of the Jordan River who had been killed by the Israelites and whose land was taken. Their territory extended from the Arnon Gorge to Mount Hermon and included all the land east of the Jordan River, or east of the Jordan Valley. King Sihon of the Amorites, who lived in Heshbon, was defeated. His kingdom included Aroer on the edge of the Arnon Gorge and extending from the middle of the Arnon Gorge to the Jabbok River, which serves as a border for the Ammonites. This territory included the southern half of the territory of Gilead. Sihon also controlled the Jordan Valley and regions of the east, from as far north as the Sea of Galilee to as far south as the Dead Sea, including the road to Beth Jeshimoth and southward to the slopes of Pisgah. King Og of Bashan, the last of the Rephates. So King Og of Bashan, the last of the Rephates, lived at Ashtaroth and Edrei. He ruled the territory stretching from Mount Hermon to Selica in the north and to all of Bashan in the east, and westward to the borders of the kingdoms of Geshur and Makkah. This territory included the northern half of Gilead, as far as the boundary of King Sihon of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord, and the Israelites had destroyed the people of King Sihon and King Og, and Moses gave their land as a possession to the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. Kings defeated west of the Jordan. The following is a list of the kings that Joshua and the Israelite armies defeated on the west side of the Jordan, from Bel-Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which leads up to Seir. Joshua gave this land to the tribes of Israel as their possession, including the hill country, the western foothills, the Jordan Valley, the Mount Slopes, the Judean wilderness, and the Negev. The people who lived in this region were the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. These are the kings Israel defeated. Now, it's a bunch of names, guys. I'm going to do my best. I apologize if I just absolutely butcher some of these. So, they defeated the king of Jericho, the king of Ai near Bethel, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, the king of Gezer, the king of Debir, the king of Geder, the king of Hormah, the king of Arad, the king of Libnah, the king of Adullam, the king of Makkedah, the king of Bethel, the king of Tappuah, the king of Hepher, the king of Aphek, the king of Lasharon, the king of Medan, the king of Hazor, the king of Moran, the king of Akshaph, the king of Tanakh, the king of Megiddo, the king of Kadesh, the king of Jokneam in Carmel, the king of Dor in the town of Nephoth Dor, the king of Goyim in Gilgal, the king of Tirzah. In all, 31 kings were defeated. Goodness. And that's the end of chapter 12, guys. So chapter 12 just ends with just basically a reflection of the campaign that they had. I'm curious, why did they keep the names of some of the kings, but did away with the names of the kings of these places? I'm interested as to why they would have had the kings of any of these places, simply because I just think it cements their existence. Not that you should erase their existence, but if the expectation was to destroy them, all of the people, destroy the cities, the fact that their names were even mentioned, the fact that it wasn't simply done like this in Joshua chapter 12, a listing of the kings of just the area represented, the fact that they had any names mentioned, I guess, kind of confuses me now, because truly it cements their name forever. And not that that's, I don't know. I guess if the expectation was total annihilation, even keeping the name, and maybe that might be too brutal for me to even think about like that, but I just feel like that was the intent of the fact that they did all these things, and even not keeping their livestock and absolutely doing away with everything. I mean, truly a testament to maybe just the sinful nature that this entire area had. And so the fact that they would maintain any of the names of the previous kings, I'm curious as to why they did that, and they didn't do that in this last part. So I would assume it would have been one or the other. Why did they not include the names of these kings, and they just simply mentioned kings of these areas? And or why did they mention the kings' names in the other areas that they mentioned? And so that's just more or less a food for thought. There really isn't anything else outside of just the real impressive nature that the fact that they conquered so many kings. I mean, I'd be curious to see what the total population was of the areas that they conquered, recognizing that we know before the wilderness there was roughly 620,000 fighting aged men. So I think that is what, 15 or 18 to 50. I think that they recognize that. And so after the 40 years in the wilderness, that number had maintained. They recognized the difference in the names because while it might have been the same amount or near the same amount in population, it was not any of the same names mentioned previously, because the whole generation had been done away with. And by that means basically allowed to simply age out. They would not inherit the promised land. And so because names are so important, again, that draws back in as to, I'm curious as to why this chapter was presented the way that it was. I guess that's all I have to say about that, because this is definitely more of just simply a reflection of their campaign. This is just a list of names of conquered kings and the areas that were taken over by the Israelites, the Jewish people. And so, I guess I'll end with that. I don't have much of a strong reflection on that. This seems to be just very straight and to the point. There's no message about this except for the fact that, no, that's the level or just the sheer magnitude of how God conquered for them. I don't know how long this time span is. I think that there will be some type of reflection, and I do have a Bible study, like I've mentioned several times, because I really enjoy this translation. It's in plain English that I just enjoy reading. I'm curious as to the length of time specifically that this campaign took. I think the next couple of chapters might reflect on that, but to conquer 31 other kings, and really it's all on foot, all hand-to-hand combat, swords, shields, and bows, and you had that level of success, I'd be curious to know and identify the amount of people they had victory over. Not just which people, but just truly how large these armies were. Plus that, we know previously in the chapters leading up to this that some of the armies began to mold together and combine and join forces. And so I'd be curious to see just the level of victory that they had over what should have been insurmountable odds. And that just wasn't the case. They just had victory because God willed it to be. And so I guess that's what I'll take away from that, is just that God, doesn't matter the odds stacked against you. If you fight for the Lord, victory is all but certain. No, victory is certain. Sometimes I mince my words. Sometimes, it's been a long day, guys. I kind of just woke up from a nap. It's been a long day. It's been rough. Just got a belly full of food. But no, that's fantastic. That's reassuring to me that regardless of how many foes I might have, that when I fight for the Lord, victory is to be expected. So, that's what we're going to end with. Have a good night. God bless. I love you. Jesus loves you. And I'll be back for chapter 13 of Joshua tomorrow, where the header reads, "The tribes receive their land, the land yet to be conquered." And there's a little bit of a prelude, too, that lets us know that the next 10 or 11 verses, or 10, 11 chapters, are going to be about how the land is divided. And we know that because they're going to divide it with the tribes, or divide it into the sections belonging to each one of the tribes. So no, that's fantastic. Have a good night, guys. God bless, and I will see you tomorrow.